Hi everyone and welcome to Let's Have a Chat, where we highlight and talk to some successful leaders within the corporate industry. Today I have a special guest with me, and that is Mr. Eddy Frankel. Mr. Eddy Frankel is Downstream and Power Director of Staatsolie Maatschappij NV. Welcome, Mr. Frankel, and thank you for your time on doing this interview with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Frankel, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, where to start? I am a husband, yes, father of two sons. I am 55 years old. Yes, I have been working at Staatsolie for about 28 years now. Yes, I have my formal education is from the Delft University of Technology. I hold a master's degree in mechanical engineering, and also I hold an MBA degree from the Maastricht School of Management. That is on the educational side. And in my spare time, I have 6 dogs. Yes.
Wow.
That I attend to.
Yes.
I also like recreative cycling. Yes, and so let's keep it to that for the moment.
Okay. Mr. Frankel, could you tell me a little bit, or could you explain about your function at Staatsolie and your career?
Okay, so you said it. My current function is Director Downstream and Power at Staatsolie. I am one of the 4 statutory board members of Staatsolie. I have been appointed recently on the 6th of May. Under my responsibility reside the Staatsolie refinery, the marketing department, and also the retail, which are the go-to service stations, and also the electricity generation activities of Staatsolie, which reside in our subsidiary, Staatsolie Power Company Suriname. And that company operates 2 power plants, or thermal power plant at Tutlifo and the hydroelectric power plant at Apobaka.
Oh, okay. That sounds
Yes.
like a lot.
Indeed.
But it's manageable.
Yes, it's manageable because I have a good team. I have good people because the people make it work, right?
Yes.
So, and in a nutshell, my career at Staatsolie, I started in 1996 as a young engineer at Staatsolie. I had previously worked for 3 years in the Netherlands, and my career steadily developed within Staatsolie. I started as a mechanical engineer, as I said before, so it was pure technical work. Yes, designing things and executing projects. Then I became a project engineer. For example, one of the major projects was the construction of a pipeline, a 20-kilometer pipeline that we built from our refinery to the Suriname alumina plant, when it was still in operation. And then I became project manager. I did the thermal power plant that we now have. So I was responsible for, let's say, the construction of that power plant. Then there was an intermezzo, I call it, yes, where Staatsolie engaged into some renewable projects, which unfortunately did not come true, but that those were Tapajay hydroelectric power project, yes, and the Wageningen ethanol project, yes, and also worked for a short period as refinery operations manager. And then with the acquisition of the Apobaka hydroelectric plant, I was appointed deputy director in the Staatsolie board since 2019, that is.
I would like to know from you, what were some challenges you faced along your career path?
Challenges. Well, of course, you have the technical challenges, but that's why I guess you have access to other sources to solve those. So I was not really qualify the technical challenges as real challenges. I guess the most, let's see, the real challenges that I encountered in my career are more in, let's say, interaction with, let's say, with groups of people. Yeah. To give you a concrete example, when I was doing the Tapajaya hydroelectric project, that is a project that would impact communities, especially communities along the Tapanahoni River. Yes, and we had to go down to those communities and have the so-called crutus, the discussions, the meetings with them, and then you experience, let's say, the difference in culture, the difference in the way of thinking. You get appreciation of the let's say the needs and the worries that those communities have, and the challenge is to to get to understand their point of view. Yes, and that was a very, I would call it, very rich experience in my career. And as a matter of fact, I still have those interactions. Recently, as I said before, we acquired the hydroelectric dam, and we also need to create good relationships with the communities that live downstream of the dam. And so, for example, you might know 2022, when we had excessive rainfalls, unfortunately, we had to spill a lot of water, which led to flooding of parts of some villages. And it was, let's say, very challenging to start the communication with those communities, and within, let's say, the boundaries of, let's say, our corporate social responsibility, meet their needs that arose from that flooding. Yes.
And how did Staatsolie handle that in the end? That you had to overspill water and those communities were flooding. How did Staatsolie handle that communication towards the community? Because there were many of those communities that were damaged, their houses and everything.
Yeah. Well, what we did, of course, right from the beginning, we reserved a certain budget to be able to respond to, let's say, the needs that had risen from the flooding. And through the NCCR, we provided the communities with food parcels. We also gave them some financial aid to clean their houses and to replace some of their damaged furniture.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So in the end, everything went well.
Well, we are still in close communication with those communities, because apparently entering into an era of climate change where it is possible that the frequency at which we need to perform intensive spill operations may increase. It might happen again in the future. So, but of course, we will apply the lessons that we have learned from the, let's say, the event in 2022. We will apply those lessons going forward.
Going forward. So, Staatsolie in this case has a prepared action plan were that to occur again.
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's great. That's great to hear. Mr. Frankel, I'm curious to know, what social activities do you do?
Social activities?
Yes.
Well, to start, I am a member of the Rotary Club of Paramaribo residents. So as a Rotarian, I engage into social activities. I live in a, let's say, in a what they call a volksbuurt, yeah. It's a hair slate.
Hair
yeah?
slate, okay.
Yes, so I try to do as much as possible, for my direct neighboring, the neighboring area. I'm also chair of the Staatsolie Foundation for Community Development, and in that function,
Yes.
I of course have the ability to direct, let's say, funds that Staatsolie makes available to those in the society, who are in need of, let's say, those that aid.
Yeah, so social projects from Staatsolie.
Exactly.
Okay, that's nice to hear. That's very nice to hear. I would like to know from you, what is your future outlook for the oil and gas sector in Suriname?
Very bright, because at this stage, we are on the verge of the FID of Block 58, meaning that Total Energies, together with their partner Apache, will develop 200,000 barrels per day oil production. So that will tremendously change Suriname as a country. Yes, the revenues that the government will gain from this first development will be in some years per year as much as our current GDP, which is about $3.2 billion. So you can imagine, if you would get an income in a single year that is equal to your GDP. Yes, so it's bright for all of us, not only for Staatsolie. And the SEOX provides a forum to get, let's say, the opinions and the impressions of the larger international community of oil producers. We have, let's say, the top tier oil producing international oil companies, and also the contractors in the oil and gas we have here. And one very typical statement made is that all the international oil companies are interested in the Suriname Guyana Basin, because a big basin, internationally proven, a big basin tends to become even bigger as, let's say, exploration and oil discoveries will follow in the future.
Okay, and maybe a tricky question, but what is your opinion or outlook when it comes to the bright future of oil compared to in our environment and biodiversity?
Okay, yes. Now you're touching the subject of energy transition.
Yes.
The world, because of global warming, the world tries to move away from fossil fuels. I'm deliberately saying tries to move away from fossil fuels. But if you look at the outlooks, the international outlooks for the demand of oil and gas, state that well beyond the year 2050, there will still be a significant demand for oil and gas. Yes, sometimes sarcastically say that we are not going to be able to power the world solely with solar panels and windmills, right? We will need a let's say, a balanced mix of fossil fuels and renewable sources. And where the fossil fuels are concerned, as technology advances, measures will need to be developed to mitigate the CO2 emissions from those sources, right? And we as a country, yes, should always adapt the best practices commercially available to mitigate the CO2 emissions.
And we are fortunate in Suriname that our carbon credits and we are a carbon negative country up till now, and for the long future, to say so, in the future, so for Suriname, that's not a big concern up till now, right?
Exactly. So as a matter of fact, as with Guyana, so our position is also that as a developing nation, yes, who currently has a carbon negative status, who has not, let's say, contributed to global warming. As a matter of fact, the developed countries have exploited their fossil resources, yes, and they have brought along, let's say, the excess CO2 in the atmosphere, and we have the right as a developing nation to develop our natural resources and use the proceeds of those resources to transform our economy into a sustainable one, yeah, and by first increasing the welfare of all people and maintaining the welfare once we have transformed into a sustainable economy.
That's an amazing outlook, and I hope and I'm sure that this could happen and this could be realized in Suriname.
Exactly, but mind you, it will not happen by itself.
No.
Yes. So as a country, we need to develop the right policies. We need to focus on, let's say, the development, yes, of other sectors than the oil and gas alone, because the oil and gas sector will develop itself. As that there is still, as I said before, there is still a demand for oil and gas in the world, and especially for gas, the demand will be maybe even longer, far beyond 2050, right? So that sector will develop itself. But as a country, we need to focus and we need to develop programs to develop those other sectors, such as agriculture, tourism, yes, maybe some technology services, yes, at one point in time, yes, to elevate, let's say, the standards of our economy.
Okay, so Mr. Frankel, to wrap up our chat, I would like to know from you, do you have a message for leadership or a motivational quote you would like to share with us?
Yeah,
something personal.
I think most important, we have to focus on, let's say, on our youth, yes, because they are the ones who are going to, let's say, make that transformation into the sustainable economy happen. I will be retired. Yeah, I will retire in a few years.
Yeah.
So we should focus on youth, focus on high quality, good education. Yes. Develop, let's say, legislation and work ethics. Yeah, to promote good governance. Yes. That is the only way that we, as a country, can make it happen.
So focusing and developing our educational system for the youth, because they will take over from the current leaders. They are the future leaders of our country.
Yes.
So
and on a personal level, to young people, the young people in Suriname may not have, let's say, given the current situation in the country, they may not have, let's say, an outlook to prosperity. But on a personal level, you need to set your goals, yes? And once again, educating yourself is the best way to achieve, let's say, goals you set. Set goals on a high level and pursue them.
Pursue your goals. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we heard it from Mr. Frankel from Staatsolie Maatschappij NV. Thank you, Mr. Frankel, for your time. I know you are a very busy person, but I truly appreciate your presence here and doing this interview with us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was an insightful chat we had with Mr. Eddy Frankel from Staatsolie Maatschappij NV. Stay tuned for our next guest in Let's Have a Chat.